Hi, I'm Katelle Goulven, and this is Mission to Change, the show where I hear from people who turn business into a force for good and learn about their journey to make it happen. In this episode, I speak with Lorna Rutto, the co-founder of EcoPost, who is on the mission to turn plastic waste into durable goods and sustainable jobs.
Hi, my name is Lorna Rutto. I'm a multi-passionate social entrepreneur with a vision to have a green Africa free from poverty. And I'm also the co-founder and CEO of EcoPost. At EcoPost, we recycle plastic waste and we manufacture very aesthetic and environmentally friendly plastic lumber and pellets that have various applications such as fencing, signage, and building and construction. And then the pellets, we take them back to manufacture other plastic items, thus closing the circular economy loop.
Lorna is from Kenya. This country, well known for its national parks, suffers greatly from deforestation and pollution. And it was pollution in her home village that brought Lorna to the circular economy at a very young age.
I grew up in Kenya in a small village called Kaptembwa. Kaptembwa was a nice forested green area with a lot of Eden streams and ponds. And even during the school holidays, I used to enjoy watching rabbits and chipmunks chasing each other. And I would listen to birds singing as the river streamed by. It was a beautiful village. However, in 1994, due to rural-urban migration, we lost our forest cover. So with increase in population and no systems of waste collection, my once beautiful home became a small, dirty town littered with plastic waste. There was waste all over, littering the streets, clogging the sewers, and even encroaching into our homes. So it was really devastating to see my once beautiful home become that small town. I was really bothered with all that plastic waste, and I was wondering, what can I do with it?
Even as a kid?
As a kid.
Yeah, how old were you?
I was quite young, probably in class 4, that is primary school.
Yeah.
And during Science Congress, I would listen to all these ideas. And I thought of coming up with one. I would take all this plastic waste, then I would melt them in Coca-Cola bottle tops.
You did that at home?
Yes. And then I would make some ornaments. Then I started even making pretty ones that I sold to other students. And I discovered quite early that actually waste is not waste until it is wasted.
When Lorna graduated university, she landed a job in banking in Nairobi. It was not her passion, but it helped confirm what she wanted to do.
I got a job in the bank, and I was actually placed in industrial area, and I'd go and see all these factories manufacturing things, and I knew maybe, why can't I use all that plastic and make them into something much huge that would conserve the environment? I felt like I needed to do something and work with people, especially those in dire poverty and in marginalized areas. And here was a material. There is so much plastic waste in the there was this opportunity. There's so much, like in Kenya, every day there's over 2,400 metric tons of waste that is generated. Yeah, and only 10% of this is actually recycled. Most of it ends up in the already overfilled landfills. Most of it also is just burnt down, releasing carbon monoxide emission into the environment. So there was so much plastic waste over there. When there was this presidential directive to prevent cutting down of trees.
Yes.
And I was wondering, what could I do with this plastic to at least even save our forests? Like in Kenya, there's only 6% forest cover as compared to the 1980s when there was much more. So I got a bulb moment to take the plastic waste and make them into something that would conserve the environment, an alternative to timber. And EcoPost was conceived in 2009.
It is one thing to have a business idea, but another one to put that idea into practice and to leave a very comfortable corporate position for an uncertain entrepreneurial adventure.
I worked as a banker for 4 years. Then I decided to take an entrepreneurial plunge because I felt like I really needed to directly work with people in dire. I did. People thought I was crazy to leave the white collar job. They were wondering. And then, I grew from a very humble background. So getting a job in a bank was like, it was supposed to be the thing. So nobody really understood how they used to think I'm crazy.
But tell me, how does that happen? Like, you sit at your desk and then one day you're like, I need out. I mean, was there a conversation that triggered that?
It was really difficult to actually leave my work. I remember I wrote the letter for resignation letter like almost 2 years before I got the ability to present it. I would go to the human resources office and then I would think about it a little. Then I would rush back and hide my letter. It used to be so difficult.
So Lorna eventually handed in her resignation letter and left her safe and well-respected banking job to set up her own business. She wanted to manufacture fencing posts out of recycled plastic. Lorna had spent a lot of time researching how her business would work and the technology she would need. That was the easy part. How to get the capital was the difficult part.
It's just that I did not have the capital, and it's very difficult to get even to raise capital. When you go for to the banks to try and look for money, you'll be perceived as more risky as compared to the conventional businesses. Then they'll ask you for all this collateral, all these beautiful statements, and I did not have any of that. So I raised some funds from family.
Okay.
I also had some little savings.
Yeah.
And I had seen during my work in the bank, I was a banker for especially industrial clienteles. So I used to go into factories.
Yes.
And I would see machines churning all these plastic containers, all these items. And I really aspired to get something like that going on. But then also that was complex technology and it was not the things I wanted to do. But I bought actually old machinery from other manufacturers, and then I refurbished the front bit in the local this Kariobangi South industry to get to make them now melt plastic in huge quantity the way I was doing as a kid, like just melting plastic in bottle tops and dip in water. Now I was wondering, what if we could melt all this plastic and make trees, like manufacture a post?
Lorna would melt plastic and pour the molten contents into metal water pipes. The plastic would then take the form of the water pipes. And using that basic molding idea, Lorna could create many items out of plastic. So the idea and the technology were simple, yet no one was doing this in her market.
Well, there could maybe the technology that is out there. I did a lot of. There was a lot of German recyclers who had almost something of the sort, though a little more complex. But I really did a lot of research on. There's all this information on YouTube, so you would see what they were doing, and I had to think not that big because the machineries in Germany, for example, are so complex and they would produce all this complex material. But I just needed an alternative to tree and a way to just remove all the trash from the market, from the streets, and make them into that material that would look like a fencing post, very basic, something that would make people think of, what if I did not have to what if I don't have to cut down trees so that I can put a fence?
Lorna conceived the idea of EcoPost in 2009 and registered the company in 2011. In the same year, she won the Cartier Women's Initiative Impact Award.
Now, then, when I could not raise any money from the bank, I saw these competitions like Cartier. and they were asking for business plans for you to inform, like, what is this your idea that you're trying to do that could impact? And I applied. Now, this is some of the ways we've been able to even to raise funding for something like that, for purchasing the basic machines and even for testing the material. And it not only just came with even the winning amount, the fund, it was very important, but we also got a lot of the training, the coaching, then even the media exposure that was really important, and the market exposure.
Oh, and I saw you won several of these prizes, right? So
Yes, that's how that was one of the ways that we were even able to get money to even purchase now a better machine. The one I started with was really breaking down. It was just a reject that I could afford initially. But then now that's how we were able to scale a bit and get now some
buy
proper
the second machine.
Buy a second machine that was now at least manufacturing better products, and all the market exposure that came with it was also very important, because now customers, people started realizing it was a way of sensitizing the market that you don't necessarily need to even cut down the trees. There's these products that we are making that are providing a super alternative that is even going to last longer.
What kind of scale are we talking about? You say you got the market exposure, but who can you serve then?
Okay, so actually, the market, we segmented it to three. The residents, this will be the homeowners and farmers who would now take the plastic posts and fence their farms. Then also we were selling to commercial clients like sign companies. There came a problem in around 2012. Desperate youths were cutting down metal posts signposts on the road and selling scrap dealers, selling them to the scrap dealers. So it was a big problem. Then I went to the government and I informed them we could provide a suitable alternative. So because plastic poles do not have any salvage value, it became a very suitable alternative. So we got huge orders from the government to provide road signage in Kenya. It's interesting how many people are really relying.
So tell me, today, how big is EcoPost?
Yes, so far we have recycled over 13 million kilograms of plastic waste. Yes, we have manufactured and sold over 1 million pieces of products, and we've had over 500,000 clients over the years. The posts we've manufactured are suitable alternative to timber. So we have been able to save over 4,300 acres of forest. And this has enabled us to prevent over 160 million kilograms of carbon dioxide emissions from the environment. We have been able to, right now we have 100 direct, we've created 100 direct jobs and over 12,000 indirect jobs. So we've been able to at least help a lot of people to become entrepreneurs out of our own entrepreneurship efforts.
With EcoPost, Lorna created a complete impact ecosystem in Kenya, contributing positive effect on nature and society. She turns waste into products while at the same time creating jobs that empower local communities.
There'll be around more than 10,000 women, youth who really rely on scavenging through garbage in very hard conditions to try and make a living out of it. There's normally a lot of middlemen in those dump sites and dump areas who have initially been paying for waiting at the dump sites, and then when the women collect and provide this material, they will pay very little, and then they will now take the material to recyclers in around the country, and then they be paid probably 3 times or 5 times more than what they paid for from the scavengers, from the women, from the people on the streets who are collecting. So when we discovered this and realized this could be a problem, the most important people in the supply chain are hardly getting compensated for their hard work. So we've been working on our platform to enable them to be fairly compensated by connecting them directly with us recyclers. We appoint a sourcing agent at various collection points who, when they take this material to, they'll be able to be fairly compensated because there'll be direct payment. Then the material will be now sold to us, to EcoPost, and even other recyclers in the stream. If we're not going to be able to purchase all of that. And the sourcing agents now have also become, we've discovered a way of now helping them at their point to now acquire like a shredding machine. A sourcing agent will have around 30 to 50 or even sometimes 60 individuals who take to them at a time. So if one of them, one of the groups, we formalize them and they have groups. Okay. If a group is able to acquire a shredding machine, shredder will basically be the machine to cut those materials. First, they'll sort them into the different classifications of plastic or the other material. There's also other kind of waste that a sourcing agent will be able to acquire. So it's there's more value that is added to the material, and once it's sold that help us first of all to ensure that we have constant supply of raw materials.
Exactly.
Plus, now all the youth and women who have collected will be able to get better compensation for their material supply instead of banning, especially some of the material. Even EcoPost is able to use even very dirty material that you initially used to just be banned because we are making very basic material fencing.
And so what you're doing concretely is that you help them acquire the shredders, you pay the shredders for them, or...
They acquire. We provide the shredders. We are locally fabricating them at the Kariobangi Light Industries. And then now when they eventually get the machines, they will own it after some time because now once they take the plastic waste from the suppliers with materials will be deducting. And within 6 months, normally they have fully paid for the machines.
Is EcoPost running this?
Yes, EcoPost is running this.
Good for you. So you're like a microcredit / entrepreneurial hub?
Somehow, yes. We have this incubator hub that is now enabling the women to, in 6 months, they've already fully paid for. And then they've paid for the machines, and even some come and take a second shredder machine because then they're able to add more value to their waste and earn more. The incomes triple within 3 months. Otherwise, then there's no middleman in the process.
Yeah, fantastic. I think that's a fabulous story.
Yes, and we're trying even to now connect more recyclers. So there's this web platform that we are trying to launch that shall now have all these other recyclers, because there's so much waste that these people are now preparing, and I cannot even consume all of it as an individual. So we are working in partnership with other recyclers. We have a group, Kenya Association of Recyclers. Then there's all this capability whereby we will help them to be fairly compensated, get into the system, and become bigger, better entrepreneurs.
On March 2nd, 2022, the United Nations Environment Assembly in Nairobi voted to end plastic pollution and to forge a legally binding international agreement that will address the full life cycle of plastics. This is a future Lorna has been looking forward to since she was a child.
In 5 years' time, I think 20 billion people or even more will have better health due to, of course, more improved livelihoods, preserved forests, and mitigated climate change. We want to have an integrated waste management a company that will utilize all this kind of waste and take it from the environment and convert it into something useful that will preserve our planet much better. So it's going to be a huge integrated platform to connect recyclers and even the people, the formal, informal waste collectors. We're going to have a huge platform to create a very integrated, important system that is going to take all this waste. There's so much that can be done. Waste will not be waste. It will be a very valuable product. There's going to be a change of narrative because of something we're going to do about all this waste. There won't be waste anymore. And I think there'll be a dent on poverty also, because I know recycling, the capability of what even these materials can do to create jobs.
Yeah.
It's huge.
You've shown it, yeah.
Yeah, there's over 1 million youths entering like the job market in Kenya, and they're complaining about jobs. It's not necessarily supposed to be like that. There's so much opportunity even in waste.
So what are your key challenges now?
We have never been able to meet the demand for the plastic posts that we manufacture.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, we need to scale up and replicate this model in places with the same socio-economic setup like Kenya. People are wondering, how can we deal with the wastes in the various countries? So we want to scale and replicate this model all over. One of the other challenges that I've really faced, one of the worst challenge ever, in 2019, we had a fire that burnt down the whole EcoPost factory, and we lost over 11 years worth of assets. So it was a huge setback.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's not a setback. It's like starting from scratch again.
Yes, we had, so starting back from scratch and trying to, but so we've rebuilt back and we are still processing as much, but we were hoping to probably grow more faster. So it's been a big setback, but at least at the moment I'm glad that we did not collapse because it was very hard.
So right before COVID, everything burned down and you're
Yes.
back at your production level of back then now?
Yes, it was terrible. And then after the factory burns down, there was this directive. We had to quarantine. So you can imagine going to sit back in the house to think about, okay, I've lost everything. Then the country has shut down. Is this the end of the world?
And back then you didn't think about going back to banking or regular job?
Oh, then that's when there was a community outcry, because now all these youth and women, they were calling and wondering, where will they take all this waste? I did not even know how necessary EcoPost was to the community until they started, and then I knew I cannot collapse. There was so much people inquiring, and even customers, the repeat clients who've been utilizing these products, they were so shocked. We had an organization which told me, we need this material. Can you just get back, go and manufacture? We don't know how you'll do it. What do you need? We even got a client who paid upfront and said, you just go and set back up and provide our materials. We'll give you 6 months. We want these posts. Then I discovered, we are not supposed to collapse. We need to help the people I needed to purchase all that waste. And I got back strength. And then I discovered, it was necessary. What we've been doing, at least people are appreciating. They required the materials, and a lot of people are depending on it. We could just not collapse.
What are your main messages for those who have an idea, thinks it can make a difference? I mean, having your energy is already, quite rare, right? So what are your recommendations or your advice for those who want to do it?
To just start doing something. They don't need to talk about the challenges. Like people talk about, I don't know, I don't have capital, I don't have what. No, I believe success begins with a will. If you will to succeed, you will no matter what. Just go out there and start whatever you can. And it will not be easy. Just work hard, be resilient. Sometimes you may fail, but even if you fail, make sure you fall on your back so that you can get back up. And just remember to try, even if there may be challenges along the way, but remember, even if a door closes, probably it's because God is opening a window with a better view. Mm-hmm. So never give up. just pursue, be fearless, pursue whatever you wish to achieve, and it shall be. Yes.
Thank you, Lorna.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Congrats.
Thank you.
Mission to Change is a podcast by the INSEAD Hoffman Global Institute for Business and Society in collaboration with INTEND. Created and produced by Human Humans. Original music, sound design, and mixing by Palomino. Special thanks to Isabel Stark and Maria Latorre.